Today's topic addresses a pressing question in social psychology. Are liberals or conservatives more biased reasoners? By exploring this debate, we'll uncover cognitive and social biases, like confirmation and in-group bias, that influence political reasoning among two of the most popular political ideas in America. In a polarized world, understanding reasoning biases is crucial. Both liberals and conservatives exhibit patterns of thought shaped by psychological and social needs. Let's dive into the argument's evidence, reasoning, and a resolution for this problem. First, we'll start with defining the liberal bias. Liberals often emphasize fairness and empathy, potentially leading to selective exposure. This means they favor information that aligns with their progressive ideals, while avoiding opposing views, fostering echo chambers of thought. Research suggests liberals' emotional investment in issues like social justice can distort logical reasoning. For example, they might prioritize emotionally compelling evidence over neutral data. Sahari Nurbaluchi says, quote, "Political ideologies serve social and psychological functions that may or may not be entirely rational." Conservatives, on the other hand, value tradition and stability. These traits can foster conformity and groupthink, where group loyalty overrides critical thinking. Harvard Kennedy School Misinformation Review says, quote, "Conservatives' political ideology is a prominent risk factor for susceptibility to misinformation and skepticism." Studies reveal conservatives are more likely to reject information challenging established norms. This reluctance often stems from preference for security and order, which can limit openness to new perspectives. Hibbing says, compared with liberals, conservatives reported modestly but significantly lower levels of emotional distress and frequency of crime. Hibbing also says, quote, "Conservatives are more likely to conform to social norms and traditional values," end quote. Liberals are often drawn to media validating their beliefs, creating feedback loops for validation. For example, selective exposure on social media reinforces progressive ideologies. Similarly, conservatives gravitate towards outlets supporting traditional values. Avoiding content that contradicts their norms is common among conservatives. These selective media engagements reinforce their ideological stances. Studies show liberals may react more emotionally to issues, while conservatives favor structured, predictable reasoning. Both tendencies influence how each group processes information and forms opinions on said information. Confirmation bias affects everyone, regardless of ideology. Both liberals and conservatives seek information that aligns with their pre-existing beliefs, reinforcing their perspectives and dismissing conflicting evidence. This is done on purpose and accidentally through social media algorithms. In-group bias is another shared trait. Liberals prioritized sources supporting progressive change, while conservatives favored defending traditional norms. This highlights the influence of social identity in reasoning. Ditto, while reviewing his research, says, quote, "Liberals and conservatives were both biased in favor of information that supported their particular political beliefs and alliances." Meta-analytic studies also suggests bias exists in both groups, though it manifests differently. For example, liberals may show bias through emotional reasoning, while conservatives might exhibit it through resistance to change. The core disagreement between liberals and conservatives centers on objectivity. Each group applies distinct standards to evaluate evidence, often leading to disputes over whose reasoning is truly unbiased. This is seen in both parties, as one always thinks the other is more biased. Another key component is motivated reasoning. Motivated reasoning drives bias in both groups. Liberals might focus on compassionate narratives, while conservatives emphasize stability. These psychological needs shape how each side interprets information. Echo chambers are one of the main culprits of spreading misinformation. Echo chambers perpetuate bias on platforms like social media, using algorithms to reinforce users' pre-existing beliefs and promoting similar content, limiting exposure to diverse perspectives. Liberals and conservatives share a lot of cognitive biases. Despite ideological differences, shared biases like confirmation and in-group bias reveal that both groups fall prey to similar cognitive traps. These universal tendencies shape political reasoning across the board. But now I'd like to propose a resolution. To address biased reasoning, we must focus on awareness and critical thinking. Encouraging individuals to recognize and challenge their own biases can foster a more balanced approach to political reasoning. By applying social psychology theories like confirmation and in-group bias, we can offer valuable tools for understanding and mitigating biased reasoning. These insights promote critical analysis over partisan loyalty. So the first step would be acknowledging universal bias. Recognizing that bias across political lines is crucial. By addressing the shared cognitive hurdles of liberals and conservatives, we can work together for a more constructive political discourse. It's also important to understand political bias is not the only type of bias, and it's seen among every topic all across the world. Bias is not exclusive to any one ideology. It's a human challenge. By embracing critical thinking and acknowledging shared bias, we can move beyond division and towards understanding. Thank you.